Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new here. We are going to be in the kitchen again today. I am going to make a couple recipes for you. I'm making some homemade Pico De Gallo, and then I'm also making a homemade pumpkin cheesecake. We have our church group tonight, and we always do a potluck style meal. So that is what I am making to bring tonight, and I figured I'd show you how I do this. The recipe I'm using for the cheesecake is actually from the Pioneer Woman. I will link a link to the recipe down below. I have made it before and it is absolutely delicious. I really enjoy it. And then the Pico De Gallo, I'm just kind of making up as I go. Pico De Gallo is pretty simple to make. You just need tomatoes, onion, jalapeno, cilantro, lime juice, all that fun stuff. So that is what we are doing today. I will flip you around here and show you what we will need for both recipes. I think we're going to start with the pico because the cream cheese for the cheesecake does have to soften, and it has not been set out at room temperature long enough to soften up. So we'll just start with the Pico De Gallo and go from there. So let's get you flipped around and I'll show you what we need. Okay, here we are. So for the Pico De Gallo, you need tomatoes. I just bought like 8 Roma tomatoes. I don't know if I'll use them all in this recipe or not. I bought 3 jalapenos. I mean, I guess it depends on how many tomatoes I use on whether or not I use all of those. Onions, I have 2 out, but again, I don't know how many I'm using yet. So if I need to grab more out, I will. Lime juice. This is just the store brand from Kroger or King Super, or nope, sorry. That is not from Kroger or King Supers, that is Walmart. I like to add garlic powder and onion powder to season it, along with minced garlic, and then cilantro. And that is everything you need for the pico. For the cheesecake, you need 4 8-ounce blocks of cream cheese, softened to room temperature. You need a total of 4 eggs. I do have 4 sitting out here. For the crust, what you need is ginger snaps and melted butter. I always buy salted butter rather than unsalted butter, which most baking recipes call for. I just prefer the salted butter. A can of pumpkin, and it has to be just the straight pumpkin puree, not the pumpkin pie filling. The recipe does specify that. And then we've got cinnamon, nutmeg, and allspice. Some of my favorite fall seasonings. And then we've got vanilla. And I'm going to double check the recipe and make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh yeah, I am missing something. It also calls for some heavy cream. I'm also going to make a homemade whipped cream to go on top of this today. But let me just double check the recipe here. Oh, you need sugar. So yeah, sugar's the only thing I don't have out that we need. For the crust, it does call for chopped pecans, but I don't prefer pecans, so I don't usually do that. So I'm just going to omit the pecans. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. I'm going to get ready to chop up some tomatoes and onion, and we'll start making that pico. Okay, so I went ahead and I peeled and halved my onions off camera just to save a little bit of time. So the easiest way I have found to chop onions is you kind of take your knife, you want to put your hand flat on top so you don't cut yourself, and you kind of just go into the onion like that, and then we just make little slices here, and you go almost all the way to the end, but not quite, and then we just dice. Get nice little pieces, and then this I just kind of chop like that around, just so I'm not wasting a ton of onion. I use this bag for trash. I think I'm gonna chop the onions and the jalapeno first, just because I know the tomatoes are gonna make a huge juicy mess on the cutting board. So yeah. So again, and with that you just kind of go almost all the way to the end and not quite all the way to the end. And you can really dice the onion up bigger if you prefer that. This is just how I prefer to do it. And there's the baby in the background. She is supervising me from her little bouncer seat in the kitchen with me. You always want to keep your fingers out of the way when you're chopping. And the way I was taught is you kind of hold it like this, and then once you get there, your fingers will just kind of run along, or the knife will just kind of run along your fingers. I don't generally like the knife getting that close to my fingers. Okay. There's that. And then just move the knife out of the way. And then I grabbed just a large mixing bowl. And, ooh, I'm making a mess all over my counter. So, oh, that wasn't too bad. Okay. Just get those pieces picked up. I did clean my counters right before doing this. I always like to clean my counters before I cook. So we're just going to set that bowl off to the side. And now we're going to deal with the jalapenos. Now with jalapenos, you want to be careful. You don't want to touch your face after handling them or anything. It can burn your face and sting. So I'm just going to chop the ends off of these and then slice them in half like that. Jalapenos are a strange pepper, in my opinion, just in the fact that fresh jalapenos, you never know how spicy your pepper is going to be. It could be extremely mild, or it could be like burn your mouth off hot. I don't know if there's a way to tell how spicy your pepper is going to be when you're buying them or not. I have not figured that out. And what I'm going to do is I have this little bag here that I've just been using as garbage. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to take a spoon and scrape all of that out. The seeds and those little like membranes in there is what is super spicy. I do know that much. That is where your spice is. And so I always just, whenever I work with fresh jalapeno, I get rid of all of that. And then you have the flavor of the jalapeno without it being ridiculously overpoweringly spicy. So there's that one. I am going to wash my hands before I do anything else after cutting these. Just because I don't want those oils on my skin. Oh, baby's throwing toys. That's always fun. So yeah, if any of you know anything about produce and know how to tell when you're buying a jalapeno if it's going to be extremely spicy or not, let me know down in the comments. I'd be really interested to know. Okay, and these I'm going to dice up fairly small. So just move that out of the way. I'm going to set the spoon in the sink here. I don't need it anymore. I surely hope I don't need more than 3 jalapenos for this, because that's all I bought. And I really don't want to go back to the store today. I already had to go to 2 different stores this morning to get pumpkin, because I went to King's to get all the stuff to make the cheesecake and the pico, and King Soopers was out of pumpkin. And like completely out. So I went to Safeway on the way home as well, and they had pumpkin, thankfully. I would have made a different kind of cheesecake if I couldn't find pumpkin, but I really don't want to go to the store again. So hopefully 3 jalapenos will be enough. That was kind of a long-winded story for that. I feel like these are going to be pretty spicy jalapenos. I feel like I can already like feel the tickle in my throat just from smelling them. And what I'm doing here is just slicing them into strips and chopping it up so it's nice and diced and they're fairly small. Any of the veggies you can chop as big or as small as you like for this recipe. It's just personal preference. I just saw a pacifier roll across the kitchen floor. That's fun. Okay, again, putting the knife off to the side, and then we are going to just dump all that in there. Okay, I am gonna go wash my hands and get the baby her pacifier again. I will be right back. Okay, now we're gonna work on the tomatoes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut the end off here. And I just looked up a video on the best way to cut a tomato, because I feel like every time I cut a tomato, I end up with this sloppy mess. So I'm gonna try this way. What they said to do is cut it into little strips like this, almost to the bottom, but not quite. And then you do this, and then we just dice it like this. Okay, hang on just a second, guys. Not really sure what she's so fussy about, but that's okay. And then finding it quite difficult to hold this together. But that was much easier, I feel like, than the way I usually do it. And I know with tomatoes too, you want a really sharp knife because the skins are super tough. Okay. That actually worked out pretty well, I think. That was kind of cool, actually. So that is how I am going to chop up my tomatoes. And then I just kind of did this. Kind of like what I did with the onion. Just to kind of cut around the little end piece there. Okay. So again, we're just going to cut the top off. Or bottom, top, I don't know which one that is. Okay, and we're all the way, almost all the way down. Okay. Yeah, this is working out quite nicely. I actually like this method quite a bit. Then they're all also like pretty uniform pieces. You don't have a bunch of smushed pieces, which is what I feel like I generally end up with when I try and chop a tomato. I get a bunch of smushed pieces. If you guys have any other tips or tricks, let me know down in the comments. I'd be interested to know. Not sure how many people we will be feeding tonight. This is like a potluck style dinner, so everybody's expected to bring something. And I always bring a dessert, so that's where the cheesecake is coming from. And then we're also doing Taco Tuesday, so I was like, homemade Pico De Gallo. Haven't made that in a while. So I figured tonight would be a good night to do so. Okay. I think I've only done 3 tomatoes so far, and I bought 8 just because I didn't want to. I wanted to make sure I had enough, and I'd rather have too many than not enough because I'll eat tomatoes. I'm going to be right back. Okay, let's chop up some more tomatoes. While I was off camera, I went ahead and put the tomatoes in the bowl. So this is what we've got so far. The jalapenos are all hiding right there. So yeah, I'm going to chop up 2 more, I think, and then mix it all up and see where we're at. Okay. I'm actually really liking this little technique I found for chopping tomatoes. I mean, it's a little difficult at this point to kind of hold it all together, but it's still a lot better than any other way I've tried to chop a tomato. I can already smell the cilantro too. I love cilantro. Cilantro is one of those things that people either hate or really like. And I guess it's some like genetic thing too. Like it either tastes like soap to you or you like it. And I've heard somewhere that it was like genetic. I don't know anything about that, but I think that's kind of interesting to think about. Either way. I, though, really like cilantro. I feel like it adds a nice, fresh flavor to things. Okay. So, I mean, we've got some slightly bigger chunks in here, and that's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's just gonna get eaten anyways. So, yeah, there's that. We're gonna bring this right here. Dump that in. And now come the seasonings. Now you can season it however you would like. That is all personal preference. We'll get to the cilantro in a minute. I just want to see where we are at. I've got to open up my onion powder. I did just buy it. I bought it at Costco. I use a lot of it, so I figured I might as well. And no measurements here, just kind of sprinkling some in. Oh, that one's almost empty. I'm going to combine that into the other container. Some garlic powder. I put garlic on just about everything. And we'll just do probably like that much garlic. I can always add more if I feel it's needed. And just kind of a little bit drizzle of lime juice. I will try and find a recipe for Pico De Gallo salsa and link it below. Like I said, I don't use a recipe. I just kind of throw stuff in a bowl and mix it up. I honestly think that might be good on tomatoes. Maybe we'll do 1 or 2 more tomatoes. Yeah, I think we'll do a little bit more tomato. And then we'll add the cilantro in there as well. But yeah, that looks delicious. And I'm gonna go ahead and taste it. Just to see if it needs any more seasonings or anything like that. You know what I didn't add? Salt and pepper. Definitely need salt and pepper. Okay. Just got my little grinders here from Costco. Other than missing salt and pepper, it was really good. And I do think I'm going to add a few more tomatoes. Okay, we're going to mix that up really good. And I'm also going to add some more lime juice. I couldn't really taste the lime at all, so... and then I'll taste it again. I really like lime juice as well. It always adds like such a fresh flavor to stuff. Okay, let's go ahead and taste it again. I'm going to just put it on my fork. I don't want to put my fork back in there since this is for a group of people. That's perfect. Just missing the cilantro, of course, but we haven't chopped that yet. I think I'm just grabbing my cutting board, and we're gonna do I'm gonna start with 2 more tomatoes and see if I feel like I need the last one. If I don't use the last one in this, I'll eat it for a snack. I really enjoy just sliced tomato with some garlic, salt, and pepper. Just as a snack, it's really good. It's like nice and refreshing. Just kind of using the produce bags as a trash bag for now. Okay. The skins on these are really tough, and maybe my knife is dull, I don't know, but I think my knife set has a sharpener in it, so I should probably sharpen it. Okay, baby just threw her pacifier again. Both of them, actually. She does this really fun thing where she fights her sleep. And that's what she's doing right now. So, you probably hear her just playing and babbling in the background. And if that bothers you, I do apologize, but it is real life here. We do live in this house, and there is noise when you live. It's just the way it is. And we have 4 kids total. The 2 older ones are at school. But, so our house is always pretty hectic and chaotic. Get this going. Can't wait. And with cilantro, I just kind of start chopping it up. I'll just start with that much. And I usually do use the whole bunch. I only buy cilantro when I need it. I feel like it goes bad way too fast. So if you have any tips on storing it and making it last longer, let me know down below in the comments. I would be really interested to know, because I really like cilantro, but I don't use it enough, I feel like, to keep it as a staple in the house. And I've also tried the like tubes of cilantro paste that you can find in the produce department. And I just found that I also don't use those up fast enough. They go bad before I can use it. Okay. Look at that deliciousness here. Oh man, I can't wait for this tonight. Okay. I still feel like I can't taste that lime at all. I think I need a little bit more salt and pepper. I'm running low on that. I should have gotten another one of those at Costco the other day. Oh. Maybe I can buy some refill at King Soopers or Walmart or something and just deal with that. Or go with that. Some more lime juice. I am also going to add just a little bit more onion and garlic powder. I think I have enough minced garlic in there, but I'm just going to add a little bit more of these two, just for the extra flavor. You can add as much or as little, or completely omit all the seasonings that I'm using. It's your kitchen. You do what you and your family prefer. Now I can taste that lime juice a little bit. And I've noticed too, Pico's one of those things that you kind of have to let it sit in the fridge for a little bit to let all the flavors kind of like mingle and blend together. So, I mean, we're definitely going to do that. Hang on just a second. I'm going to go take care of her and then finish chopping up the cilantro, and we'll see you back when we're done. Okay, and we're back. This is what the Pico looks like completed. I'm just going to put some clear plastic wrap over the bowl and stick that in the fridge to chill for the afternoon. And I've also went ahead and I pulled out my KitchenAid mixer and my food processors to get started on the cheesecake next. So just going to cover that, and into the fridge it goes, and then we'll be right back to get started on the cheesecake. Okay, first tool we need is the food processor. We are going to start by making the crust. Let's see if I can do this without burning myself on the candle I have here. Okay. So what we are going to do is just open this up, and all of my attachments are behind me. So I'm just going to get my blades here, and those just go in there. we're going to take the ginger snaps. And the recipe calls for 12 ounces, and this is a 12-ounce box. So we are going to be using the entire package. Okay, let's go ahead, and I'm just going to put this on high. Okay, and I will go ahead and show you what this looks like. It's just all kinds of crumbs, just delicious crumbs. Okay, we're gonna put this back on here. And then I've got, let's see if we can see, 6 tablespoons of melted butter. And we are just going to drizzle this in. It also calls for 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, which I forgot to grab out, so let me do that. Forgot my measuring spoons as well. Oh, come on. Okay, so for some reason I can't find my tablespoon, so what we're going to do is just use a teaspoon. 3 teaspoons equals a tablespoon, so we'll just do 6 teaspoons of brown sugar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Now we're just going to pulse this together until it all is combined. Good. Pull the lid off and set this to the side. And that is what we are left with. Oh, the brown sugar didn't mix in very well there. I will have to mix that before we put it in the pan. I have a springform pan that I've prepped with some oil and or like cooking spray, cooking oil, and parchment paper. So I'm just kind of mixing here just to make sure that that brown sugar got completely mixed in, because there was that one little spot that didn't for some reason. Okay, I am going to move this off to the side. We are done with the food processor, and here's my springform pan. Like I said, I prepped it with some cooking oil so that it doesn't stick, and parchment paper. Sorry, that was way jerkier than I meant it to be. I just want you to be able to see what I'm doing here. So this is going to be the crust, and we're just going to kind of push it down and make sure it's even, and then bring it up the sides a little bit too. You want to have the crust come up the sides a little bit. And that butter, that melted butter mixed with the cookie crumbs makes it so you can just kind of press it all down. And it will make this nice crust. And we are going to put this crust into the fridge while we make the filling. And that will re-harden the butter. And that's what's gonna kind of hold the crust's form. Now it doesn't have to be perfectly even. I mean, you want an even layer, but it doesn't have to be like even along the top here. I mean, if you're a perfectionist and want it that way, that's fine. I am not, but I feel like it gives it a nice look if it's not perfectly even too. So I don't know, do what you want with that. So yeah, see, we have it pressed up on the sides and all along the bottom. And so we are going to just stick this in the fridge, and it's gonna cool and chill while we make the filling. I'm gonna quickly rinse my hand. Okay. We also need to preheat the oven, so let me find where I have the recipe. I'm gonna go ahead and pull my KitchenAid forward. This is now going to be the star of the show. Okay. So we are going to bake this at 350 degrees. So I'm going to get my oven preheating. Okay, so in a mixing bowl, beat cream cheese and sugar until light and fluffy. Add pumpkin, spices, and mix again. Okay, so I'm gonna need my handy dandy can opener here. And how much sugar is it? It is 1.5 cups of sugar. So to lift this up, there's 1.5. Okay, gonna grab a paddle attachment, and I'm going to use this one here that has the scraper built into it. It doesn't perfectly scrape the walls of the bowl, but it does help. So I gotta remove that to get the cord undone here. I use this KitchenAid so frequently. I absolutely love it. Best mixer I've ever had. So that cream cheese is nice and soft now. So we are just going to beat this. I'm going to start slow, just so I don't spray things all over the kitchen. And you want it to be light and fluffy, so you kind of want to let it go for a little bit. And we'll scrape the edges down here. We'll stop it, scrape the edges down, let it mix a little bit more. So you want to make sure everything's nice and incorporated. So, I'm just going to scrape down the sides of the bowl here. Oh boy, got it all over my fingers. Normally, I would just lick that right off my fingers because that is delicious, but I am making this for a group of people outside my home, so I'm not going to do that this time. Just prevent all germ spreading. Nobody in our house is sick, but in the times we live in, you can't be too careful. While that is going, I am going to open our can of pumpkin. It's looking nice and light and fluffy to me. So just gonna kind of scrape the bowls down one more time. And I'm just gonna take the spatula and dump that right in. Since King Soopers was out of pumpkin and Safeway had some, I did pick up like 4 cans of it because I really like to bake with pumpkin this time of year. I like to make pumpkin snickerdoodles, pumpkin cheesecake, a lot of different stuff. So I want to make sure I have it on hand so when I feel like making something, I have it and don't have to go on a wild goose chase for it. So yeah, let me just grab my phone here, sorry. Okay, so add pumpkin and spices and mix again. Now, I'm gonna be completely honest here. I'm not gonna measure these spices. I never do when I use these spices, so just sprinkle in some cinnamon. Some nutmeg. Kind of go based off of smell when it comes to these these spices. And I'm gonna add the vanilla. The recipe doesn't actually call for vanilla, but I do like to add vanilla to just about everything that I bake. It just adds really nice flavor. And vanilla is also one of those things that I just do not measure. Okay, so we are gonna close this and mix again. We just want this all to get nice and incorporated and combined. Okay. We're gonna stop it and scrape those sides again. Scrape at the bottom too, just to make sure. And I always kind of scrape the rubber spatula off on the paddle, just to make sure we keep all of that delicious batter in there. Okay, now we're going to add the eggs one at a time. And I know a lot of people will crack them in a separate bowl. I just don't tend to do that. Oh boy, I just about got shell everywhere. Just kind of let it get combined, and we'll move on to the next one. These eggshells are like disintegrating when I'm trying to crack them. I have not gotten an eggshell in there though, so I mean, there's that. Okay, that is our last egg. I'm going to slow this down. It looks like it's trying to overflow on me. Okay. Again, we're going to scrape the sides down. Very soupy at this point. This is what it should look like though. Again, I'm just kind of trying to scrape up the bottom, make sure we don't have any chunks of cream cheese that didn't get mixed in. Okay. Now we need 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. I'm going to again use my teaspoon. very slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So again, I was using my teaspoon to measure that, which 3 teaspoons is a tablespoon. And then it says mix until just combined. Oh man, that smells delicious. I do think I want to add a little bit more spices though. They don't smell super strong. So we are just going to do that real quick. Just a little bit more cinnamon. A little bit more nutmeg. And a little bit more allspice. And just until they're combined, just going to do. Okay, they look combined now. And I can smell them a lot stronger now. So we're just gonna wipe down the paddle here. Just got it all over my hands. And I'm just doing kind of a quick mix here real quick, just to make sure everything's fully incorporated and we've scraped down the sides well enough. Okay. Push this out of the way here. Now it's time to grab our crust back out. Probably should have put it in the freezer so it could get a little bit colder because that wasn't quite long enough. But we're gonna go with it. Okay, so here is our beautiful crust. Oh, we've got some spices up on the side of the bowl here. Let's get those incorporated. Just kind of mixing real quick with my rubber spatula. Okay. And we're just going to pour this lovely mixture. And it will go over your crust, and that is okay. I am going to put a cookie sheet under this, just in case while it's baking it overflows a little bit. I've had cheesecakes that do that and it makes a huge mess in the oven. So we're just going to prevent that by baking it on a cookie sheet. Okay, that looks absolutely delicious. Okay. Just grabbing a cookie sheet here. Setting it on there. And then it says to bake this for an hour and 15 minutes or until no longer soupy. Cheesecake should still be somewhat jiggly though, so okay. We'll get this in the oven. I will let it bake. I will show you what it looks like when it's done. We are not doing a taste test portion of this video today because it is for our home group tonight at church. So just figured I'd take you along with this recipe, show you what I do. I'm also going to make some homemade whipped cream for it. So I will show you how I make that. And but yeah, we'll see you in about an hour and 15 minutes or so. Last time I made this, it took closer to like an hour and a half to fully bake. So I mean, we'll just have to see how it goes. But I will see you here in a little bit. Okay, here we are with the cheesecake out of the oven. It is looking very delicious. It did fall a little bit as it was cooling, but I think that's pretty normal. This is now going to go into the fridge until we leave tonight. So it gets nice and cold, hopefully. I might stick it in the freezer just to guarantee that it gets nice and cold. But yeah, I have to go get my older boys from school, but when we get back, I will show you how I make my whipped cream. Okay guys, see you in a few. Okay, and we're back here to finish up today's video. We are making some homemade whipped cream. All you need is whipping cream. I like to add vanilla, and then I use powdered sugar over granulated sugar. It just seems to dissolve a little bit better. So I'm just going to pour what's left of this container of whipping cream into the bowl here. And then I'll decide if I need more. I have a little bit, I have another container of it. So I will decide if I need more after this. So let's just, all you do is whip it. I've got my whisk attachment. Got a little bit of air started going in there. I'm going to pour in the vanilla. Just eyeball it. And then I'm going to do a few spoonfuls of the powdered sugar. I always just kind of do this to taste. So, start with that. And as you can see, this has really thickened up. I'm gonna let it go a little bit longer, but I wanna taste it to see if it needs more vanilla or sugar. I'm just gonna grab a spoon here. That is what it looks like. Nice and thick. Yeah, I'm going to do a little bit more vanilla and a little bit more sugar. I did add an extra spoonful while it was mixing, but we'll just do a little bit more. This is powdered sugar. Oh yeah. I one time needed powdered sugar for a recipe and didn't have any. So I put granulated sugar in my blender and tried to make some. And it didn't work super well. It got the job done for the recipe, but it was still really gritty and grainy. So that's why that doesn't look right to me. I was trying to figure that out, but that makes sense. A little bit more vanilla. Okay. Now we're just going to continue mixing this until that's all combined. That's a pretty good consistency. Now, if I were to keep blending this, I could actually get to the point where I made butter. To make butter, you take whipping cream and you just whip it with salt instead of sugar. And you whip it, like this would be whipped butter here. You can whip it to solid butter as well. Oh, that looks so good. Look how thick that is. It just kind of stuck here. Ooh, that looks amazing. I think that's perfect. So that is how I make whipped cream. I am going to go ahead and just put this in a Tupperware container and stick it back in the fridge until we're ready to go tonight. If you like this kind of content, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. And also go ahead and subscribe. I also do beauty content along with content in the kitchen. It would mean a lot to me if you stuck around for a while. My first major goal I'm about to hit. I'm about to hit 100 subscribers. My next goal after that will be 500 subscribers. So help me reach my first milestone here. I'm gonna try and do a giveaway once I reach 100 subscribers here. So yeah, it would mean a lot to me if you wanted to join me and just kind of stick around for a little while. We can hang out and do makeup together. We can hang out in the kitchen together. So yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks for watching.